What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Life is Cooler with AC. I'm your host, Alex Cunningham, and today we've got a very special friend. He's actually the cousin to Lance Armstrong. He only has one testicle as well. Ben Bradshaw, what's up, buddy?
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I know that you're busy doing art. So is it actually the Traverse City Comedy Festival right now?
So the Traverse City Comedy Fest just wrapped up this past weekend. It was
Okay.
it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it was like technically like the first one or like a rendition of a previous Traverse City Comedy Festival, but it was way more like local comics were like way more involved, and it was the festival ripped, dude. Almost every show sold out, I think.
Oh, that's awesome. See, like that's what's so cool. And like it's funny that you're from Traverse City because we've talked about how I've got so many friends from up in that area, but I never knew that there was even like a scene there because I feel like it's a very kind of like upscale area and comedy's kind of like such a grungy type, like wow.
Yeah.
Like we're not degenerates totally, but we're definitely like we're more divey than like the actors and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, dude. No, it's I think it's really good for Traverse up there because like you said, it is like an area where there is kind of like some wealth and like, certain like there's Traverse City itself is like kind of like a wealthy city, but there's like a bunch of like, you know, places around it that are like not like as like on the same like level, if you will.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so, but no, man, I think people were really eager to like get out and see like these shows again. Like I said, like a lot of them sold out, and I mean they already like penned down the second one or like the next one for 2024. So
See, that's great.
yeah, it was a success, dude.
Yeah, no, and like it's so cool because I know you've been doing comedy for a minute now, but you just came down to Austin. Was that your first time in Austin?
Yes, yeah, no, dude, I had a lot of fun. I stayed down there for a little under 3.5 weeks, and that was basically I got there Halloween weekend
Okay.
and stayed right up until like a couple days before Thanksgiving. Like that's when we started to head back.
Yeah, because I think you went to one of our shows that we had, Scott Woodcop, which you guys can go watch his episode. We had him on a show with AC Squared Productions, and you just came to support. So we were like, hey, we're just gonna throw you on. Like I had seen you perform a couple times, but you guys
Yeah.
left the next day, right?
It was very shortly after that. Yeah, no, I think we left. That was like a Saturday show. I think we started taking off on like that. Maybe like that. Yeah, that Sunday or Monday.
Okay, yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. So like the fact that you were there, like, cause I'd seen you at some open mics and stuff, but I was like, man, I want to see this guy, like in front of a real crowd, not just a bunch of random comedians that don't give a shit.
Yeah, dude. No, thanks again, man, for putting me on. That was a lot of fun. That room was really cool too.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun
Yeah.
room.
Yeah, dude. No, that was I really enjoyed the space, and it was Brownwood, Texas, not
Yes.
Browns, because everyone was like saying the name wrong, right?
Yeah, and I think somebody at one point was like Brownville and just like just
Yeah.
ran. Yeah, and it's like just Brownwood.
Yeah, Brownwood. No, it was cool, man. I liked that spot, and then also like I think I met you at Corky's, right? That was
Yep.
where I initially met you,
Yep.
and I know that Scott said that that's like his kind of like his like not like safe space, but like that's kind of like his home mic in a way. And it seems like
Yeah.
you guys have like a pretty close like community there in Temple, Texas.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what's cool about this area, is that like everybody's so kind of tight knit, like I don't want to say super inviting because sometimes it's not inviting, but whenever like how you came in with Scott, it was just like, oh, this is Scott's friend. All right, he's cool then. Like you're already accepted, you don't have to kind of like come in and be the weird guy and be like, oh, who's this fucking weirdo? Probably somebody from Austin.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's so. You just remind me when you said that too, though. I think just like from what I've gathered, I feel like some maybe Austin comics are viewed as, I don't know, a little pretentious, maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Because I did. Scott had like he caught like a little bug or whatever, not COVID or anything like that, but he just like was a little under the weather, and so I drove out to San Antonio and did a mic, and the host accidentally brought me up as like, this guy came from Austin, Texas, so like, which I technically did come from like the Austin area, but I'm not from Austin.
Right. Yeah. You
And
just
like,
drove from there.
there was a noticeable shift in like the room's energy when they started bringing up like Austin comics. It was really interesting to hear. I don't know. I guess maybe some Austin comics are a little pretentious, I guess.
Yeah, no,
that's Scott Whitcup guy.
Right. Yeah, Scott's kind of a piece of shit. You ask him a question and he'll say something totally random like, all right, I have no idea what you're talking about right now, Scott. Just shut up and go drink a beer. But
he will.
Oh, I know he will. Yeah. And eat cherries. The dude loves fucking cherries. It's the weirdest thing. But
well, yeah, dude, that's a Traverse City thing, you know?
Yeah, no, and like we talked about that, and before I get in, I always forget. So I drink alcohol on the show. Are you drinking anything by chance?
I have water, dude.
All right, hey, that's all right, because you lost your testicle to cancer, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so and we're gonna dive into that. So you probably need the water, okay? So you stay hydrated. But I'm drinking some Gentleman Jack, and shout out to Justin Marino for buying the bottle for this episode. So if you want to sponsor an episode and get a shout out, you can send any donation to Venmo is at Life is Cooler, or Cash App is the money sign AC2 Productions. So yeah, sorry that you don't get to try any of this. It's actually really fucking smooth.
No, I'm sure the bottle looked really sexy. The bottle looks smooth.
Yeah, and it's big as fuck. I mean, like, that's a huge bottle of bourbon.
Are you gonna is that like a weekend project for you right there or no?
I don't know. So my dog has been sick. He was just diagnosed with cancer on Monday.
Oh shit.
So I've been drinking a lot more than what I generally do. So we'll see. It'll probably be gone by the end of the weekend.
I'm sorry to hear about that. I'm sorry to hear that about your dog, dude.
No, thanks. You know, it's one of those things. His it's not in his testicles. They were already removed. It's it's a liver cancer. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll just, we'll attack mine. Then we'll see how it goes.
I was like, yeah. I got you, dude. Well, sips for pups.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I feel like that should be a good marketing strategy, sips for pups. Yeah, exactly. You should get a shirt made,
Dude, I want to get some of my own drip. You have like a brand, dude. Like
Always.
So you have a brand. Scott's obviously visiting Michigan right now, and we did, like, you got brought up in conversation, and he's like, Alex is like a brand. And like, you have I have your stickers on like my joke book, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Both of them on there. Yeah, dude. No, like, keep pushing that merch, dude.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like you're back home, so you don't get to come. But like, I've got my friend actually made me like a handmade like big circle rug with my AC logo on it. It's
nice.
Like that's how you walk into my office, and then I've just got my AC everywhere. Like just branding, man. Did you met Justin Marino, right? Whenever you were in town.
Justin Marino, was he at in the Corky's group or no?
Yeah, he's a little bit taller than I am. He's Mexican, got a baby face, and he always does like kind of the deadpan comedy.
Oh, okay. No, that sounds familiar now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just did his podcast. He's got one called They Said I'm Funny, and that's kind of they do topics, and my topic was marketing. And it's like everybody always thinks that I'm like this marketing whiz or whatever, and it's like, nah, man, I spend a lot of stupid money on shit that nobody wants to buy. Like there's a huge difference.
No, dude, keep doing it, man, because like those stickers, like I have a buddy here in the Grand Rapids scene, or like just like after shows, like, like showcases or whatever, they'll just put them out and like not like have a price or anything, but just be like, if you want to toss a few bucks, like you can get that money, dude.
Yeah,
it's a hustle.
Sure. Yeah, no, and like that's something that I tell people all the time. And you're not new in the game or anything, but I feel like you're at that moment where you're really starting to branch out, like going to Austin and traveling and doing those things. So it's a pivotal moment, and having something that whenever you go to these different places that you can sell and make some money. So then that way it kind of takes some of the burden off of your travels. It's a game changer.
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah, no, I gotta, cause like I do artwork too, man. And like, I just gotta get like some stickers or something. Like that's like the one thing that like for like this year, I got like a couple goals and ideas in mind, but like one of them is to like just finally get some fucking stickers,
Yeah, well, and see, like that's what's cool, because like I'm not artistic at all. Like I'm very dumb when it comes to like I can barely write things legibly. You know what I mean? So it's like I always have to go to other people for artwork and stuff like that. Where like with this, it was simply like I wrote my initials and then my buddy like turned it into like a graphic and put
A
the circle
logo.
and stuff. Yeah, so like that was helpful. But like without him, I could not have done any of that. But you've got the art background, so you can like do that shit, pump that stuff out.
Oh yeah, dude. No, now that I'm like I've basically transitioned like back to the like the Grand Rapids area now.
Okay.
And one of my close comic buddies, like his mom has like the means to like make those. So now that I'm like kind of like more back down here in the Grand Rapids area, I'm gonna jump on that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And like anytime, and because I give them out for free, so
Yeah.
like I think I paid like I don't know, $200 or something for like 1,000 of them or something like that.
Plus it's
And
steel.
yeah, not bad at all. And like, so 1,000, like I can give them out. I mean, I do my titties and stuff like that, so then
Yeah.
it's like, that's great marketing. Like anytime that you can come up with like that little niche or something, where people are like, nah, this is cool. Like it helps your brand. It helps you because, like you feel like people actually care enough to give you money for it or even just ask if it's free, and then it's like, it's a confidence booster. So like just having merch, honestly, is just such a fucking, it's a good feeling.
Yeah. When did you start like branding yourself, if you will? Like
From
how
the
long
start.
from the start? Okay,
From the
got
start. Yeah. And like I don't recommend that. Like I had like viral videos and stuff that did pretty well. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna market these viral videos. Nobody fucking cares, So like I spent
Yeah.
like tons of money on, like doing like characters and stuff like that from these videos or, like a saying from a video that did well. And it was like, no, if you didn't see the video, it doesn't matter. And if you did see
Right.
the video, that doesn't mean you want to pay money to buy something. So it's like you literally you have to brand yourself. And like you're not gonna and I mean unless it's like the Grinch with Jim Carrey, right? There's actually the Grinch has a following.
Yeah.
But nobody's gonna go out and be like, oh, Earth Girls are easy. Like that's what I want. It's like, no, if you're buying that, it's because Jim Carrey was in it. So you're still you're buying Jim Carrey.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to think about that. Really quick, you just reminded me, did you see that there was like a horror Grinch movie that came out like at the end of this past year?
Uh-uh.
Dude, are you familiar with these horror movies called The Terrifier?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
with the clown.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that, it's like Art the Clown or whatever.
Yep.
The guy who I think that who plays Art the Clown played the Grinch, and it was like a horror, like it looked like the most like B-rated, like low budget, like shit movie. But like in regards to like the Grinch, if there was a real Grinch, this guy probably looked like what the Grinch would look like. I know it was
Really,
a
that's
random
awesome.
detour, but like when you said Grinch, I'm like, oh yeah, so there's that Grinch horror movie. It was
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Don't check it out.
No, I'm going to. Well, did you just hear? Like somebody just posted I saw earlier today, and they're like, Jim Carrey's coming back for the Grinch Part 2.
Really?
That's what I heard, and like Jim Carrey said that he was retiring from acting last year or the year before. So
I thought he said he was retiring from acting like 5 years ago. Honestly, like I could be wrong, but like he's been like painting and shit too, doing a bunch of wild shit.
yeah. Well, so he was done, and then when they came to him with the Sonic movie, I think is really what.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was like, I like this is fun. It's like it's generational, like it's something that I can stand behind because now he can be picky, right? Like
Right.
that's when you're fucking Jim Carrey, you can be picky with what you do. And so I think like after that, and there was a bunch of stuff where like he went to what the Oscars or whatever, and they were like, you have to move, like you're in a TV show, and like so it was like a big fucking thing, and he's like, all right, fuck all of this, like I'm just gonna go paint and I'm just gonna live out my life.
Right. Dude, what are your top 3 Jim Carrey movies?
See, that's hard because like
Or you can say 5 if you want. No particular order, just like a few.
Well, so I love Ace Ventura, right?
Yeah, Pet Detective or Nature Calls.
The Pet Detective.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it's like every time you watch it, you catch something different, because Jim was so good about like little subtleties, like even just the way he would like move his eyebrows and stuff like that. That would, so you would think he was saying one thing, but then like he would be like, but like so he's saying something different, and like whenever I was a kid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like when I was a kid and he was like, the girl's like, oh, there's got to be some way that I can pay you. And he's like, gee, let me think. And that, like I never really understood, but like she's giving him a blowjob and he's like,
Oh yeah.
the women are real, what does he say? Real wild or something around here. And I'm like, as a kid, I never really understood what was going on. And, but it's like when you
Yeah.
get older, you're like, this dude's a fucking, like, he's a crazy person, but in such a fun way.
Oh yeah, dude. I like The Mask too. The Mask is a good one.
Yeah, and so my favorite scene, I think, honestly, with the mask was whenever he is doing the balloon animals, and he's like a Tommy gun, like,
Yeah.
and it turns into a real gun. And it was so bizarre, like, and like that. I think that's what I love about Jim Carrey. It's just that, like, even in like Dumb and Dumber, where he's like, I gotta pee, just go, man. Like it's always just so nuts that you're like, this could never happen. But then, like, throughout the years when we learned Jim Carrey, like, it probably has. Like, he's probably just so nuts that, like, this shit,
Yeah.
he would be this way in person.
I don't even know if like Ace Ventura would get made today, honestly, just in general, because like the end of that movie, like the plot twist is that like that Einhorn is like a transgender person.
Uh-huh.
Finkel and Einhorn and Finkel, and like the end of that
Plunge in
movie,
his mouth.
yeah, oh dude, like they're gagging themselves because this is a transgender person. Like
Yep.
that couldn't happen, I don't think.
Your gun's digging into my hip. Yeah, no, and like, but that's the thing, is like it was so funny, and like,
Oh yeah.
all the shit that he did was just, it was always so good, even like with Earth Girls Are Easy, and like, but then if you go to his stand up, did you ever follow his stand up much?
I did, dude, and like I didn't like watch like a bunch, but like there's like one of the like the special that's on YouTube where he has like that like notable like multicolored shirt or
Yep,
whatever.
yep, with the collar and tucked in.
Exactly. So
Yep.
during that that special, he was doing like, because I think that was like right before like his like big break with like Ventura or whatever,
Hmm.
with Ace Ventura. Like the things that he does, some like his mannerisms and like characters and like you said, the eyebrows and shit like that all correlates into his movies. Like you
Oh
see that
yeah.
in Ace Ventura and also like Bruce Almighty and like
Yep.
those kinds of movies. And that is like, it's fun knowing those like little Easter eggs, like those precursors that just kind of flushed into his
Oh
films.
yeah. Well, I think that's what made like the Truman Show and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's what made those so good, because you're like, wait a minute, like he's funny as hell, and he literally, like, I think in Liar Liar they said that like some of the best scenes that like when he's in the courtroom and all of these things, they're all ad lib, right? Jim Carrey
Yeah.
read a script and just said, oh, this is what the character, this is his persona, this is how he's supposed to react to things, and then he would ad lib everything.
Oh yeah, a lot of improv for sure.
Exactly, yeah, and which I'm sure came from In Living Color and doing all of those skits where you really get into how to be funny, but when you take the twist and like the number 23 and you go into a more serious note, I think that's where you really see like, wow, this guy, like there's more to him than just like funny faces.
Yeah, dude, I never saw the number 23. Wasn't that one kind of like technically like a thriller or like a horror or something?
Yeah, he was like trying to solve it's been so long now, but he's trying to solve a murder, or his girlfriend got murdered, or something like that. But yeah, it's more of a thriller than just like
Gotcha.
like a drama, like Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah, I never saw. I've really only seen like the mainly like the comedies. I never saw Eternal Sunshine either,
Yeah.
actually.
Wow. See, you have, like, honestly, so my wife, she's not much of a comedy person, and she loves Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Like, it is
Gotcha.
just, it literally, like, you have this idea. Like, did you ever see Truman Show?
I've seen Truman Show. It's been a long time though.
Okay, so that's your homework. I
Yeah.
don't,
Okay.
I don't know what you're doing tonight or tomorrow, but you have to watch this weekend and let me know what you think, because it's such a good fucking film.
Okay. Gotcha. No, I'll have to check out. You said Eternal Sunshine of
Of the
the
Spotless Mind.
Spotless Mind. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll check that out, man. It's always fun seeing actors like comedy actors do semi more serious roles or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw. Did you see Uncut Gems? Just curious, with
Yeah.
Sandler.
Yep.
I thought that one was pretty solid. I thought Sandler crushed. Like I
Yes.
like Sandler's one of those guys that like personally like I don't think all of his movies are great, to be honest.
Really?
No, I don't think they're all like gold. Like, you know, some of the older stuff is great, and like I think Grown Ups is good. I
Uh-huh.
like That's My Boy is horrible, but I love
Okay.
him and
His newer
Andy
stuff.
Samberg together.
Right.
But he Sandler in Uncut Gems, like his character was good, and it just kind of shows that some comedy actors can be versatile. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, there was a new one, and fuck if I can't remember what it's called. But we just watched it, and he's like a basketball coach, and you.
No, it was on Netflix, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I was just like, man, like, so I'm a huge Sandler fan, like the SNL cast of that the early 90s, with Spade and Farley and Schneider. Like, I really enjoy all of those guys, just because I
Yeah.
feel like it's very in line with my sense of humor. And when I see like with Sandler go into a different approach, because he was hilarious, like in The Water Boy, and fucking
Little Nicky.
Little Nicky even was funny. Yeah,
I
exactly. And
love
and
Little
that
Nicky. I'll
one's
say
so
that.
bizarre, like
It's
that's
so
just
weird.
yeah. But like his iconic roles, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison,
Yeah,
like when you think of Sandler, to me, that's who I think of. So
for
then
sure.
when I see him in today's, because he had that other like it was like The Strange Case of Mr. some Shonowitz or something. Like, I
The,
mean,
I know what you're talking about. I
yeah, it
do
was
know.
some Jewish name, but yeah, it was like that was such a weird film. And then even which I have to watch again, but have you ever seen Funny People?
Dude, Funny People is awesome.
So when
I
I
I
first saw
liked it a
Sunny
lot.
People years ago, and I thought that it was going to be a comedy because A, it's Adam Sandler. B,
Yeah,
it's titled Funny People. And I went in there expecting a comedy, and I came out not laughing. So I was like, that
right.
was fucking horrible. If they were trying to be a comedy, it was fucking horrible. But like now, knowing what I know now, I think it would be much better to go watch again.
Yeah, and I think I haven't seen that one. I watched that movie like before I started stand up, and I feel like if I watched it like again now, being almost like 4 years into stand up, I would appreciate it so much more too. And also like Sandler plays a guy that has like a weird health thing, and like I
Uh-huh.
lost my right nut to cancer, so like uh I think I would appreciate it more watching it again a second time too. But it
Oh
was
yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, well, so we'll also have to watch that. I don't know how many fucking movies you watch, but I don't have a day job because all I do is comedy. So I watch a lot of
Nice.
fucking movies. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch these, and I'm gonna fucking be texting you and being like, "Hey man,
Oh,
this
please do
this
so.
this is a good one." But
Yeah.
no, I kind of want to dive into your cancer,
Yeah, dude.
because like so let's see, I just did a show. It was a couple weeks ago at a brewery. There was probably about 120 people there. It was packed out. There was standing room
Whoa.
only. It was a great show. But I was hosting, and whenever you host, you always come in, and if you guys aren't comedians, you're just watching this for fun. If you want to know how a show works, the host goes in, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the host goes in, and it's like fucking somebody that you want to fuck that doesn't want to be fucked, and they're not wet at all, right?
Yeah.
It's like they knew that there was a possibility they were gonna get laid, but they're not really into it yet. So it's like a softcore rape scene,
A
you know
softcore, yeah. Hosts are
yeah.
all softcore rapists.
Yeah, exactly. And so like that's how I feel going in as the host, because I'm like, hey, you guys are all having a good time. You're talking, you're drinking, whatever. But anyway, listen to me now, and I'm gonna try and make you laugh whenever you're like, but I was not done with this conversation.
Right.
So
Oh yeah.
it's difficult. And then like, so you kind of get them focused, and then you've got your opener who comes in and is funny and kind of like breaks up the kind of the weird tension in the room. And then you've got your feature that will come in and do really well, because now people are okay, we're in the laughing mode. And then depending upon how many comics, but we usually will run 4, maybe 5 comics. So then your headliner comes in and everybody's ready. They're all loose, they're drinking, they're listening, they're paying attention, and then they kill. So being the host, you have the hardest job,
You're the
because
glue. You're the bullet biter, man. Yeah.
right, exactly. And then if somebody doesn't do well, if the crowd is not receptive to somebody, you have to pull them back in. So I was hosting the show, and I opened up with my parents' suicide jokes, and it's a very hard one to do. So I want to know, is it hard? Like, I know that you do some jokes with about having cancer. Is that a hard bit to try and like win people over on?
Um, I'd say like for the most part, no. Some of like I have like, a decent like size chunk like just on cancer material.
Uh,
And sometimes like depending on like how the only like way that I feel like sometimes people will get turned off, like sometimes it gets kind of dirty because
mhm.
like I talk about like how like I can't jizz anymore. That's like part of my act. I say the word jizz a lot. So
Right.
like that can sometimes maybe be like a turn off to people because it can get dirty sometimes, but I feel like overall people are pretty open to like wanting to hear, a survivor's story
Yeah.
essentially. Um, but I will say though, it was weird because I've been thinking about this. I've like thought back on this recently. I would go out and do like shows during like peak chemotherapy, like
Oh
where
shit. Okay.
oh yeah, no, I went through like 4 like really heavy cycles of chemo. Like I lost my hair. Like, dude, that's like a misconception about cancer too, or like chemo at least, by the way. Like I lost like my eyebrows, my beard. Like Heisenberg is like that's all make believe. You know what I mean? Like he had like a nice goatee. That
Right.
it goes away. You know what I mean? And so like weirdly, like during those like that like several months or whatever that was, uh I had jokes that kind of I would say like had a shelf life to a certain degree,
Okay, that makes sense.
meaning like I couldn't say some of those things now because weirdly like audiences didn't like don't have a visual now to go with it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like just as you're describing this, with the comedic brain that I have, I imagine you hairless, all over, and you're like, it's kind of weird that they
Yeah.
removed one of my testicles, and now my whole head looks like a testicle, like so. But you can't do that now because they'll be like,
No.
I don't get it. You look normal.
Yeah, oh exactly. Like I had a joke that was like one of my favorite jokes. I would do like one short joke at the top and then no matter like how big the laugh was, my follow up to that would just be like, "Oh, I already have more laughs than I do white blood cells right now,"
R-
and that would always like get a great pop because like
yep.
most people can like will be like look at me and be like, "Okay, something's slightly off," you know what I mean?
Right.
And so like it is like it's kind of cool that those jokes like that is for sure like shelved material. You know what I mean? Like I kind of
Yeah.
miss saying some of those things. Obviously, I don't miss chemo, but
Of
like,
course. Yeah.
but like no, like it is weird though because like like answering your question, like are people like receptive to it? Like yeah, for sure. It's like it's an interesting angle. I usually have them like in my hand like when I go to say those jokes or whatever. But like I said, it is kind of interesting having jokes that like are shelved now too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and I can definitely like I can't relate, but I can come from it or come at it from the angle of knowing comedy, and that is something that is difficult, right? As a comedian, because you have these ideas, you have these jokes that you love, that you've literally put blood, sweat, and tears, and sometimes a whole testicle into, and
Yeah,
it's like
not
you
any jizz though.
right. Yeah, no, I didn't come on it, but I did slap a testicle on it.
Yeah,
Like, but so, it's like you love these jokes, and they're your little babies, right?
yeah.
And it's like, man, I wish that I could use that. Like, I had one that was really good that I used to use about how like COVID turned my wife into a prostitute, whatever, because she started working from home. So since she was home more, we fucked more, and she was always on
Yeah,
the
oh yeah.
clock, so she's getting paid for it and whatever. It wasn't a good joke, but it was a funny joke that
Oh,
like
sure. It was
like
relevant. It was, topical to COVID and,
exactly. Yeah, and I've had a lot of people say that they really like that joke. Well, it's irrelevant anymore. If I'm
right.
like, let's bring up COVID, people are gonna be like, fucking still.
Yeah.
It's almost like an instant turn off rather than a turn on because like everybody's just so fucking over it. But if you come
Yeah.
out and you're like, hey, yeah, look, I'm hairless, I'm going through chemo, I look like this and that, people are gonna be like, none of this is accurate at all.
Yeah. No, it's wild too because right now at least, like, I don't like, because like obviously like the whole cancer thing is kind of like definitely like a defining, like, I have those jokes and like I'm kind of like, I'm quote unquote like a cancer comic. Like there's, a few of them, there's a handful of them that I know. Thank God most of them are all doing well. But like I also don't want that to be like the thing that I'm known for. I want like my other
Yeah.
jokes to speak for themselves. And like, I don't feel the need to do cancer jokes all the time because, I mean, you hit open mics, you know that like you see a lot of the same faces. I don't want to just be like talking to comics about, not jizzing all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I want to like only pull those jokes out for like, probably paid gigs and like, just showcases and things like that. I want like the other weird jokes to shine too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and it's funny. So, like this is why I love this podcast because like it brings up so many things that I don't think about on my own to talk to people about. But being uh a boxed in comic is something that we all worry, or I don't know if we all worry about it, but I feel like the good ones worry about, you
Okay.
know? So I used to do a lot of sexual jokes and it was all sex, 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 this and that, and
Yeah.
it's like they're funny, whatever, but it's like everybody's talking about it. But whenever you get to the point where you're talking about real shit, it's totally different. But cancer to you is real shit, right?
Yeah.
But you're not wanting to get locked into, oh yeah, let's see how we're gonna feel bad about or feel bad for him today. Let's see how
No.
he's gonna tie cancer and something that happened 10 years ago into how it's affecting his marriage or like whatever. So it's like that's actually very like that is something that I have worried about because like I don't want to be the guy who is like, oh, he's only vulgar, oh, he only talks about dark comedy, like, so it being I
Kind of
guess
versatile in a way.
yeah, exactly. Which with cancer, you can make it, you can go dark, you can go light, you can go all
Yeah.
kinds of different ways, but not wanting to be super topical, I guess, is kind of a different issue that I've never really thought about.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where again, like those jokes and like those are all like they're all special to me. And like I also too like it's weird because like sometimes like when I open like that part of like my set, I like, address it like I'm a survivor. And it's weird because I'm at a point right now where like I like don't like coming out. And like again, I'm for like forever thankful that like, I'm in remission, but like I feel like a fraud almost for going up there and saying I'm a cancer survivor. Not a like fraud's not the right word to use, but it's just like because I'm not doing it for sympathy. I'm not really doing it
Absolutely.
for sympathy. I'm doing it because I want people to hear these jokes. I want them to laugh at these jokes,
Hmm.
and then hopefully just like think about it. The next day or something. Like, oh yeah, like we just heard like a cancer survivor talk. Like it's not like for me. Like it is for me, but not that way anymore. Does that make sense?
It does. Like it's so I've got actually I've got several friends who have lost a testicle to cancer. And one
It's
of
way
my
more common than you think, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, and that's so Zane Nelson. If you're watching Zane, this is a shout out to you. He lost. I think he said that he lost his left one. I could be wrong, but to cancer. And so I asked him one time, and just out of curiosity, I was like, "How did you know?" And he was like, buddy, you got to fucking feel him. He said, I felt him and something felt wrong. There was a lump. And I was like, it is what it is. And he pushed it off. And then eventually he got sick and it was like, oh, you've got testicular cancer. And he's like, so now, and it's not the only thing he talks about. He's also an artist and, does like all kinds of cool shit. It has not become him. It is
Yeah,
just, it is something
it's a
that he
part of
dealt
him.
with.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But he's like, if you have questions, go to a doctor.
Oh
And
yeah.
being somebody with a microphone, and it's the same thing with like with my dead parent stuff. It's like I'm doing this stuff in a way that makes you laugh and makes you think that like this is okay, but I'm also being an advocate for the idea that like it's also okay to ask for help because I am the product of a double suicide, both my parents, where you're the product of cancer, like so talking to people, making it, you know, like fun and interactive, but also like it's still serious. It's still something that we
Oh
go through.
yeah. Yeah, no, like it's, and that's the thing too, like when you can like sometimes like, I mean, obviously you're on stage and you can feel like that shift, you know what I mean? Like if you say like, again, like that's where it is, like again, I don't want to say these jokes all the time, but like, you know, in certain cases it is a fun card to pull, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
absolutely. Yeah.
For like, you know, like same thing with like, you know, your parents material or whatever, like you can, that does like, I have a really good comic friend in Michigan who says like, you know, it's just like joking, like in today's world of like comics who are straight white guys, you got to have something to like kind of set you apart from the other straight white guys, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
And this is that to a certain degree, you know what I
For
mean?
sure.
It
Yep.
makes you interesting, it makes people like probably want to hear more about it, like, you know, after. And that's the thing too, man, like it is like really cool to hear people, like people have come up to me after the shows and been like, hey, like I know someone, or like I'm also a survivor and that was so fucking funny. Like that's the biggest win, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
absolutely. Yeah. No, and that's what's so cool. And like I think that is where it becomes, you know, like it's part of you. It is not who you are, right? Because it's like I can be this person who's funny, you know, like you're gonna laugh whenever I talk about, you know, my wife. You're gonna laugh whenever I talk about my Crohn's disease. You're gonna laugh when I talk about all of these different things. But it's all collective to create us. But if there was one of those things that you could relate to that, you know, could, I don't know, potentially help you in your life, if you've got Crohn's disease, if your parents killed themselves, or if you are trying to kill yourself, whatever, you know, you're dealing with cancer, whatever the case may be, if you could laugh at those other things and then also kind of like relate to the deeper things, the harder things to talk about, then you realize that like, oh, the shit that I'm dealing with isn't, it's not that bad. Like I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying
Right.
it'll get better, you know. And sometimes it doesn't, you know. Sometimes cancer kills people, and that's, you know, my grandma died of cancer. It does happen. But
Yeah.
if you can find solace in the moment through a comedian talking about it, or through, you know, whatever, then we're still doing our fucking job. We're still making
Oh
people
yeah.
happy.
No doubt, dude. And you said something interesting there a second ago, just like that. You said basically, not that like God. You said it. Obviously, we were talking about how it doesn't define you or whatever, but just that like people can like take that away. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that's like a takeaway where it's like, you know, people, you can, it can always like be like worse off. And what you were saying kind of reminded me of like, you know, yeah, sure, I shelved these like some of these jokes or whatever, but and I, now people don't have like a visual to go with it, but this right now is the current product of survival and a sign
Right.
of hope. Maybe like if there's someone in the crowd who's like, you know, I just got diagnosed with cancer, like, you know, or like, hey, like a close friend of mine just, you know, killed himself, like you are like you said, that's the point I was trying to make. That is doing our job, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Exactly. Yep.
You're
For sure.
you're making something that's like fucking heavy, you know, trauma, like this big, heavy, like the word cancer, suicide, those words have weight. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
those are not things that you want to talk about in normal conversation, right? Like, I'm not going to go up to somebody like, my wife's birthday just passed. It was Monday, the day that we heard about my dog. And everybody's like, hope you have a great day, this and that, you know, and you're not going to be like, hey, it would have been a great day, but my dog has cancer. You know, you're not going to do
Yeah.
that to somebody, you know? So like, you can't just bring that up in a normal conversation, you know? So us being on stage, everybody's listening to us because we have the microphone. So when we're talking and we are saying these, you know, trigger words, if you will, we're really, it's like it's going to go one of two ways, and it always does. It always goes one of two ways. You know, people start to side with you or people get mad at you, and either way, you are bringing light to a situation, and
Yeah.
that is what we're supposed to do. And you know, like as a comedian, I think everybody thinks, you know, like it's always supposed to just be, you know, like funny ha-has, but it's not always just funny ha-has, you know. It's like
Yeah.
of course we want people to laugh, but It's not knock knock who's there. It's like, no, laugh at the things that you're not supposed to laugh at and dance the line and realize that there's different perspectives to every situation. Like my uncle used to say something, and it's resonated with me my entire life. He was like, no matter how thin a fucking pancake is, right? No matter how thin, there's always two sides to it. And it's like, that's so fucking true.
And then he said, touch my penis.
Well, he touched me.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he
said uncle. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Nah, well, so now did you have two testicles when your uncle was touching you?
At the time, yeah.
Yes. That's what happened to it.
Yeah,
he was an alcoholic. Yeah.
No, like he gave me cancer through the touch, you know.
Yeah. See, that could be, yeah. Not only am I a cancer survivor, but I'm also I survived the touch of my uncle. So luckily he was right-handed, so he only grabbed my left testicle. You know, he left the other one alone.
Yeah, dude. He's ambidextrous, maybe, you know.
Oh, right. He went for both of them.
Yeah.
What a guy. He knew how to make you feel good from every angle.
Yeah, good and uncomfortable. Yeah.
Right. Now, being from the Midwest, like it's fun. Well, see, I'm gonna backtrack. You're from Michigan. You're born and raised in Michigan, right?
I was technically born in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, but like
okay.
I grew up in Michigan though. I moved with my parents when I was like 4 or 5 to Traverse. Yeah, but I consider myself a Michigan kid.
Yeah, but still, even being from Chicago, you're still from the Midwest.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're Indiana, right?
Right. Yeah. Yep. So I was about 3 hours south of Chicago, in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. So, but being from the Midwest, people are always like, oh, Midwest, you know, like you guys fuck your cousins and stuff like that. But I feel like with Michigan, people don't realize that like Michigan is part of the Midwest because you guys are so far north, right? You know, so I feel like you guys really kind of like you miss a lot of the, I don't know, like the negative connotations that come with being from the Midwest.
That's fair. I feel like Traverse City in particular, because like you said, Traverse is like up in Michigan. It's like, you know, it's far enough up north to where it is kind of separate in a way from, you know, the bigger cities down below, like Grand Rapids and Ann Arbor and Detroit over on the east side of the state. I think it's its own little bubble for sure.
Yeah, well,
Traverse City is a weird place.
Yeah, and anytime, you know, like, because my friends used to always talk about, you know, like northern Michigan, you know, whatever. And it's like, we don't really, and most states, except for like Texas, they've got like, because it's so fucking big, right? And then like California, you've got NorCal and SoCal, you know, so like it's actually split. But like I spent 10 years in Florida and nobody was like, oh, we're in SoFlo. You know, like it was just like there is Southern Florida, but you're just in Miami. You know.
Yeah, SoFlo. Oh, I don't like that.
No. It doesn't exist.
It sounds like a slimy guy from Florida.
Yeah, I'm gonna start using it now. Welcome to SoFlo. But you have to have like a little bit of cocaine residue from your nose when you say it. But
wired. SoFlo, you know.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah, but with like a fake gold chain.
Yeah.
But
some little made in China plastic Halloween store chain.
Exactly, yeah, but like they believe it's real.
Yeah.
And but you would never be like, I'm from Norflo, because like that.
God. Oh, yeah.
It's even worse. Like, oh, so you're from Jacksonville? Like, so you're like, if you could make Miami worse, it would be Jacksonville. So it's just. It's like none of this makes sense. But with Michigan, you guys, which you have your own little fucking hand thing and, you know, whatever. But so you guys have the weird shit. But it's like my friends are like,
hand thing? That's so funny.
Yeah, because nobody else does
you're not
that.
wrong.
Yeah, like, did I tell you I had a guy in LA and I was like, oh, hey, whatever, you know, where are you from? And he fucking bent his arm and was like, I'm from this part of California. And I'm like, are you from Michigan? And he was like, he said, how did you know? And I said, because the only people in the entire fucking world that show where they're from on a body part is people from fucking Michigan. And he was like,
Absolutely.
yeah, and he was like, yeah, I'm from you, and I'm like, go fuck yourself right now.
Yeah.
Just I'm done with this conversation.
That's so bizarre that he used an arm. Like,
I
I
know,
mean,
yeah, and it looked like a broken arm because he was trying to do the shape of California. You know
yeah,
how it like cuts over. Yeah, I was
I've
like,
never
fuck
heard
this
that
guy.
before.
Yeah, like imagine if I pulled my dick out and I was like, I'm from this part of Florida.
I know. That's what I was just gonna fucking say that. That's so funny.
Yeah, like no, you couldn't, because I would probably only reach Jacksonville. You wouldn't even get the. There's no way the tip is at Miami. Absolutely not.
No. You said you were in Florida for 10 years?
Yeah. After my mom died, I went to Florida.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Were You didn't do any comedy there, right?
no. I didn't start comedy till I moved to LA.
Okay, gotcha. And then remind me, you were in LA for how long?
Just 2 years.
Just two, and then you came to Texas.
Then I went back to Indiana because it was during COVID. Yeah, and then I came to Texas.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What was it for you that, I guess, I forgot if I asked you this when I visited, but it's still relevant now. Like, what made you choose Texas, essentially?
So we were thinking about going back to LA, just because, I mean, it's LA, you know,
Right.
but it was like, my wife was like, I want to buy a house. I want to do things, you know, like I want to feel like I'm still moving forward in my life as well, you know, like while you move forward in yours. And I was like, that's fair. So, everybody was leaving LA because of the politics and everything, you know, so.
And all that shit. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, and so they were all leaving and coming to Texas because it was like, oh, I can do the same thing. I can buy a house opposed to live in a small apartment, and I can, you know, not have to be so limited on the things that I can do. So we were like, why skip the middleman and go to fucking California again? Why not just go straight to Texas?
Yeah. Nice. No, yeah, it's definitely it's wild because, like, when I visited there were people that, like, I met who not only were just, like, from the area, but also, like, I met people who were visiting.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
I met a bunch of comics, like, some from Florida, some from New York, and, like,
Yep.
it is crazy just how much, I guess, things have changed. I mean, you have, like, experience now, like, I mean, you were in LA and then you're, like, you know, in Texas now. So you've had, like, experience with two big scenes right now. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, for sure. And it helps too. And something that we're working on doing, and you know, I don't know, maybe we'll tweak it a little bit, but we are planning a tour this summer for me to go like all through the Midwest, like to start here and go up into like Kansas City, and then over to like Des
Whoa.
Moines, and then go into Minneapolis, and then over to like Madison, and then, you know, kind of just do this nice little swoop, you know. And
Yeah,
so
cool, dude.
yeah, and I think like it would be great. Like I know you, because how far are you from Madison?
I don't know exact hours off the top of my head,
Would you
but
drive it? Like
what's that?
I said, would you drive it? Like, do you know people who drive it?
Oh yeah, no, like it's not that bad. I've been to Wisconsin, like, from uh and plus, like, from Chicago too. Like, I can even, like, take, like, I think the fucking ferry over.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, and yeah, that's probably much closer.
I think
So
that'd be the most convenient route, actually.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
and so like because we're trying to think, you know, like of ways to just get out there, you know. So like if this goes well, maybe we'll do it again, and then like we'll try and jump over into Michigan, you know, and then,
Yeah.
you know, like it'd be great to see you and, you know, see what you guys have going on over there, and like that. It's always great to just kind of like not only reconnect with your friends, but to kind of combine forces, you know,
Oh,
and
absolutely, dude, for
yeah.
sure. Please, I know you mentioned this is, like, just jumping a little bit, but, like, still, dude, I'll do, like, you know, some artwork for you. I know that you had mentioned that
Oh
you want
yeah,
a
absolutely.
portrait or whatever. Like, you know, let me know about that, because I like to help comics out in that sense. And, like, I've drawn a lot of people in, like, the Grand Rapids scene here. Like, I've drawn, like, little variations of portraits of them. So I hook comics up with deals too. So
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. And as soon as we get all of this shit done with my dog, because I didn't realize it was so expensive to put a dog down. But as soon as we get all of this, yeah, it's stupid. As soon as we get all this figured out, and I've got a little extra spending money, then I will definitely get a hold of you for that. And if you guys out there, you want any work done, definitely go check him out. I'm gonna put all of his links down at the bottom so you can go see his work, his fucking comedy. It's all great, man. And I've had such a good time. Like we just met. What fucking? It was November.
Like, end of October, November, a few months ago.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I feel like I've known you like forever.
Oh yeah, no, that's like absolutely, like that's like why, like when you, again, thank you for having me on your podcast, because
of course.
Like, this is like, I love when like worlds collide in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Kind of like what you were just saying, in the sense that, like, I met you in Temple, Texas, the first weekend of November, or the first week of November, whatever it was. And then here we are, fast forward, X amount of months later, and doing a podcast long distance over Skype from Grand Rapids to, Texas. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's fun. It's weird. That's like what I think, that's like the really, like one of like the coolest parts about, like, the networking side of doing something stupid and silly like stand-up comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. And like it's funny because like in any industry, except maybe like being a doctor, but like any industry, you've got the people who are just like, I do this on the weekends, and then you have the people who are like, oh, I'm serious about it. And if your doctor is only a weekend doctor, get the fuck out. Like go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it's cool, whenever you meet the guys who are like, actually they're in it, they're involved, they're invested, because you can see it, like you can feel the passion. And I love being able to like create this this fun atmosphere and relationship, professionally and and personal. So then that way we can all get better and grow, and it's just it's fucking fun.
Oh, it's the best. Like, they're really like, it's so much fun. I wouldn't like, there were times like, kind of like earlier on where I'm like, there's always like kind of like that hesitation of like, is this for me? But like, dude, no, like I can't stop. You know what I mean? It is like a weird drug at this point. You know what I mean? Yeah. People like when you kill, like when you do well, it's like, fuck, I got to do that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then when you bomb, you're like, I want to do well, so then that way I stop feeling this way. Yeah.
You want to do like redemption or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like my wife and I, we were talking earlier this morning, and she was like, if you stopped comedy today, like seriously, if you stopped comedy today, just, like metaphorically speaking, what would you do with your life? And I said, be miserable. Like I don't know what else I would do.
I almost thought you said beat you miserably.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I implied. But like, no, like I don't know what else I would do. I love working on my fucking cars. I love doing, these other things. Like comedy is not all that I am, but it's a huge part of who I am. So it's like it really, I don't know what else I would do, because like this, it's not a job to me. It is a passion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. It is. There's like that debate, I feel like too, I've heard of, like, is stand-up art or is it not? I think it's art. I've said this before, like a good handful of times, but like, like I said, since I also like draw, like I have a degree in like illustration, it's way more different, and I'll say complex, going through the motions of like writing, performing, and delivering a joke than it is like working on like a drawing or like, maybe like a painting or something like that. Because like, yeah, you can technically finish each, but I feel like it takes longer to do a joke.
Yeah, and so that is something that we like as comics we talk about all the time. If you want to be a good artist, and not everybody's a good artist, don't let me cut you short on your talent, but you can go to these different classes, right? You can literally go to the library and pull out how to, like, learning how to sketch, and it will teach you how to draw eyeballs, and it'll teach you how to draw noses, and so, and it doesn't mean you're gonna get good, but it literally it's the foundation. If you want to be a doctor, I mean, that is so, it's not, again, not easy, but you have to go to school, you have to do good, you have to pay attention, you have to get good grades, and you have to do certain things. With stand-up comedy, you don't know, because what makes you laugh is not going to make me laugh, and what makes that guy laugh is definitely, it's totally different. And I think making a joke And like, so with art, just like with comedy, there's so many different types. You know, we've got one liners, we've got storytelling, we've got all kinds, you know, dark humor, we've got clean,
Yeah.
you know, and just like art, you have you know, you've got like traditional, you have your abstracts, you've got, you know, like all kind, you've got, I mean, physical arts where if you make sculptures, you know, it's there's so many different mediums, whatever. But when it comes to uh telling jokes, I feel like it's a different art form because you can literally say like, I choke my wife every night, and people will be like, you're a shitty person. But
Yeah.
if you say, I choke my wife every night because that really turns her on, you know, like, then
Way
you're like,
different.
way different, you know.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, so you literally like it's perspective and it's delivery. I mean, you can deliver a painting to people any way that you want to. You know, you're like, hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. You know, like you can say it, but it's always going to be the same picture, right?
Yeah.
But literally the way that we phrase things, the way that we, you know, enunciate things, the way that we time things, it's all fucking different. So it frames it in a totally different way. So it's very unique.
Oh, absolutely, dude. It's I love it. You can't stop. You know,
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
stop
No.
it. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Just so you know, I don't want. I got a little notification. I'm in the last 10% of my phone battery, so I don't
Okay.
want it to die. This has been great, but just wanted to give you that little warning, just so you know.
Yeah, well, let's jump in here. So we've got the ice box. You can't see it because it's a little bit different setup whenever it's online. But so it's just a random question. We'll talk about it, you know, and then we'll be on our way.
Cool.
All right. So this is, if you could live in the past or the future, which would you choose?
Oh, I think I would live in the future
Okay.
because
Wow.
like you can always I feel like I kind of like live in the past not all the time, but like I get nostalgic a lot, and I kind
Okay.
of view nostalgia as living in the past. So
Absolutely.
the future is like interesting because like I don't know, like it'd be fun to live in the future a little bit because I wouldn't like want to fully like move into the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to be like surprised, but yeah, I would say because I don't know what's gonna happen too. Like that's like if I've lived, I already know my past, so why would I want to? I don't know. That's just my take. I've already lived in the past, and like I'm nostalgic enough. So yeah, the future. I'd say the future.
See, that's interesting. So, like, I'm not a doctor in psychology or anything, but I did study psychology in high school. We had several psychology classes, and it's interesting. So, just the way that you're explaining this, I want to live in the future, because I'm nostalgic. So, this if you're living in the future, and this is how I would be if I was living in the future. I'm one of the good old days type of people. You know, I'm always
Yeah,
looking back, right? Because my parents are back there. You know, like all the things that I miss are already back there.
for
I don't know
sure.
what's up front. So it's funny to hear you say I like looking back and reminiscing and thinking about the past, but I want to go to the future. But so in turn, you would just be reminiscing about now.
Whoa.
So
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
yeah, so I don't know. Like that's just, to me, it's nuts. It's bizarre. It's
No, I didn't
strange.
think about that. That's weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I'm just a fucking idiot drinking
No, you're a
some
little
bourbon right
philosopher,
now.
dude.
Right.
You got a wizard's hat on. You got to, grow that goatee or whatever.
Yeah, I gotta let my chest hair's already going gray. I gotta like let it fucking fro out so then that way people know, listen, I'm gonna fuck your shit up.
Yeah, you got that tie dye on. You're a little hippie, aren't you?
It's, no, believe me, I hate hippie. I'm so not hippie. But like I
I
just
hate hippies. You heard it here on
you
Life is Cooler with AC. Alex Cunningham hates
he
hippies.
hates hippies. No, I just like people who are just like, yeah, man. I'm just like, all right, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't smoke weed. I don't do, I'm like, no, I don't want your VW bus. I don't want to fucking, like, I have an 85 Dodge Ram pickup that has no exhaust on it. Like, I'm blowing up your ozone layer. Get out of here. Okay.
Get out of the way.
Yeah, like, make room for the future. Okay. Because I want to reminisce on today. But no, man, thank you so much for being here. And shoot me your and I'm gonna put them all again. I'm gonna put all of them down here. Shoot me your socials so then that way I can so these guys can go check you out. And man, thank you so much for being here.
Dude, thank you. This was so much fun. This was also like really philosophical too, I feel, throughout
Yeah.
the whole I love these conversations. So for real, thank you for having me. Like I said, I know you'll drop the handles, but yeah, Instagram is just at the Brad Benshaw. So check it out. I got artwork, bunch of artwork, and some stand-up clips on there. And yeah, man, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.